One of the core missions of this channel is to help people get into preparedness. And in 2026, it is more expensive than ever to get into this hobby, this passion, this lifestyle that we live. Well, today I'm giving you my top 10 budget preps to help you get started into the world of preparedness. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to another episode of The One Row. My name is David, and today we're diving into the top 10 budget preps that people should consider when they first get into preparedness. Basically, one of the things that I've really wanted to focus on with this channel is to help new people get into preparedness, to help them and their families be more prepared for common disasters all the way up to the end of the world as we know it. What better place to start than with some budget items that are not particularly expensive nor hard to find, that are absolutely key to be prepared for this crazy year that we're having so far. And I don't think it's going to be getting any more sane. So before we get into it, if you do end up enjoying this kind of content in this channel, please subscribe, like this video, and all that kind of YouTube stuff really does help this grow, helps us get the message out, and helps you, because if you can get your neighbors into preparedness, then that means when something does happen, they won't become knocking on your door quite so early. My list I think is pretty good, but I do want you folks to leave me a comment below if you think my list sucks, if you think something is out of order, because these are ordered. So let me know. Your top 10 things may be slightly different than mine, depending on where you live, what your needs are. But this is where I really tried to focus on a generalist, but just realize that your situation may vary and you need to kind of think about things. Now, as I was putting this list together, there's actually a lot of things that you commonly have around your house already that are absolutely helpful in a disaster and help you be better prepared. And so some of those things I didn't want to add to the list because most of you probably already have them in your home. One is a fire extinguisher. Most likely you have one in your kitchen under your sink or in your garage if you got one of those. Another thing that I assume you already have is that you have warm clothes for the climates that you live in. If you live in Alaska, I expect you have some pretty warm clothes. If you live in Florida, maybe not so much, but you have clothing sufficient to keep you warm wherever you live. I assume that you have blankets to stay warm with. Now, maybe they're not fancy backpacking blankets, but they're quilts and comforters and things that you normally sleep with when in your own bed. I assume you have that kind of stuff. I also assume you have duct tape. Most people have some duct tape around. I assume you've got some work gloves. I also kind of assume that you probably have unscented bleach. Most people have bleach in their home to help with the laundry or for cleaning purposes. And the last one is plastic trash bags, because they're come in super handy, whether it be the kitchen variety, like the 13-gallon kitchen variety, or the 55-gallon outdoor heavy duty. Having some extra plastic trash bags. Getting into the list, I narrowed it down to 10, but I actually had 12. So I've got 2 honorable mentions to start with. First is a tarp or budget tent. Maybe it's a 12 by 12 outdoor hiking tarp, or a tarp you'd buy to put over an old car in your yard, something like that, or maybe it's just a tent. But either way, having a tarp or a tent or some way to put shelter over your head if for some reason you had to leave your home. And the other honorable mention is an offline knowledge device. Now, maybe that's your phone preloaded with some PDFs and articles about first aid and outdoor survival, etc. Maybe it's a fancy offline storage knowledge device where it's like the prepper disk thing where it comes preloaded with all of Wikipedia and all that stuff. That kind of stuff is really, really helpful to have. If you enjoy hanging out with me, hearing what I have to say, come check out our live streams at 9 o'clock on Sunday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern on Sunday nights. My wife usually comes with me and we kind of talk about preparedness. We take your questions, interact with you, and we try to have a pretty good time. So come check it out. In many cases, you won't know what is best for you until you start getting some stuff and playing around with it. I mean, how many times have I bought camp stove, or how many times have I bought water filters, or whatever it might be? And I learned through buying and through using when I go backpacking or camping or whatever, I learned what I liked and what I didn't like. All right, let's go ahead and start the list. Number 10 is the most expensive. It's emergency cash. Having some cash on hand in a pinch. Cash is king, as they say. I know that we live off of electronic payment now, but it's still, if the electronic systems fail, cash is still usable. I recommend to have at least $200. Now, if you can have a lot more, by all means have a lot more. If you're like on a fixed budget, $200, you might have to take a couple of months and just save some Starbucks trips and not go and set that money aside, something like that. Try to save it up. Number 9 is a camp stove and fuel canisters. Getting a butane camp stove, you can get those off Amazon for about $30. Buy a couple of additional butane canisters to go with it. You don't need to go crazy here. Between the stove and 3 or 4 canisters, you're looking at about $50. Amazon is probably and Walmart are probably your two cheapest options there. The ones on Amazon, you can see the reviews, which is obviously helpful, versus Walmart, where you're buying something and it may or may not be good. And I don't know if I can recommend it because I haven't tried the Walmart ones, but I have tried some of the Amazon ones. Number 8 is a rechargeable emergency radio. Now this I actually bought off Amazon years ago. I bought a bunch of them, but these are actually AA battery ones. I don't recommend those. Get the rechargeable ones, but it's more, fancier now, and it's USB-C rechargeable. And I recommend that. You'll see through this list, I don't like batteries in this list. I think that having rechargeable is a little bit better option. Try to hear some of what's going on and be informed if there is a disaster, a power outage, something you have some sense for how widespread it is, how long it might be, and as they always say, knowledge is power. Now, this particular one, I think I paid like $11 or $12 for. The rechargeable one, I think is like $13 or $14. Number 7 is a portable power bank. I recommend a 20 to 30,000 milliamp hour battery. You can get those between $30 and $50 on Amazon. They're available at Best Buy, Walmart, wherever you want to go. The purpose of that is to recharge phone, but being able to recharge the radio and recharge the light. Now, in this list, I don't have something to actually charge the power bank. So you kind of have to keep it topped off through the year, put it, in a cool, dry place. And, once every, say, 4 months, just top it off. And it'll be there when the power goes out. So you can recharge some of those items, maybe one of your phones, but it's not going to power your house or do much else other than the radio and flashlight, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and maybe your phone for a little bit. Number 6 is a multi-tool. Multi-tools are very handy to have. I'm wearing a black shirt, and this multi-tool is actually black, so this is not super helpful, but I'm going to hold that up for you. This is a rock tool. It's basically a Leatherman Surge clone. It's really good. It's like $40. I really, really like it. I like them. They're just, to me, and I know they don't have the warranty of a Leatherman, so all you Leatherman aficionados, I totally get it. I have a bunch of Leathermans and I love them. But I've been incredibly impressed of what the knockoffs are doing between the Wave Plus clones, the Leatherman Wave Plus clones, and the Surge clones. Because you can get a Wave Plus clone for like $25, but then the Surge clones are more like $38 to $40 on Amazon. But you can, get a Gerber clone. You can get a full Leatherman or a full Gerber, whatever or SOG or whatever your multi-tool of choice is. But with the multi-tool, you want to have pliers. You want to have a good knife on there. You want to have a can opener. Can openers can be critical. I don't have canned goods on my list per se, but having a can opener will open up the cans that you do have, as well as if you have to scrounge or scavenge, or if somebody happens to share a can of food with you, you have a way to open it. Number 5 is a reliable light source. I've got 2 different rechargeable flashlights. This is a Streamlight Macro Stream USB. It's not actually very cheap, but it's a pretty decent little flashlight, and I like it. And then this is an O-Light. Again, I want to say this one's around $25-30. Again, rechargeable. But you can actually buy, and I bought them, and my kids actually use them to play in the yard, and they're really good flashlights. You can get like a 3-pack for like $20 or $15-20, something like that. Not the most amazing flashlights, but I would probably rather have like a pack of 3 than a single name brand one. Now, again, go by the Amazon reviews. People say about them, and they're not as good as the name brand stuff. But if we're talking budget here, and it will help you to see when the power's out, if you have to move at night, all that kind of stuff. And again, because it's rechargeable, USB-C rechargeable, you'll be able to recharge it off of that portable power bank that we talked about earlier. Number 4 is a trauma kit. Right back here, we got a first aid kit. Now, I don't mean go to Walmart and buy a first aid kit from Band-Aid or some brand there, because it's not going to have what you're talking about. What you would want to do is to go on Amazon or go somewhere and buy a cat tourniquet, some kind of a tourniquet, then some kind of a hemostatic gauze. You can buy Quick Clot if you want, or you can buy a knockoff version on Amazon. It's just basically, it's all the kaolin clay soaked gauze stuff. Get another thing of rolled gauze, maybe a pair of trauma shears. Again, you're going to buy the cheap ones, not the nice ones. I understand that the nice ones are so much better, but we're talking budget here, guys. Then from within your house, just go take some, find some pain reliever that's sitting around, maybe some Imodium AD antidiarrheal type stuff. And then between the ability to stop massive blood loss to a point, I understand that's to a point, having really an upset stomach, because that's a very, very real thing when you're in a disaster scenario. Between the stress, the change in your diet, and potentially questionable water, having something to stop diarrhea is really, really important. For that, we're talking, all told, we're probably, for oh God, what are we talking? Maybe $60 for all of that stuff. There are other brands of tourniquets besides cat tourniquets. So there's Softs and Rats and some other options. They have benefits and negatives, but some kind of tourniquet's going to be much better than nothing. Number 3 is some shelf-stable food. And what we're talking about rice, beans, peanut butter, and maybe some canned chicken. So here's some canned tuna. I think this is like $15 at Costco, and it's just the white solid albacore tuna, which my family will actually eat. So we actually go through it. It doesn't actually sit in our basement and go bad forever. We actually do end up using it, but you can get them at Walmart and other places. Are these big 20, 25 pound bags of rice? Not too expensive. I want to say they're like 20, 22, $25 for these. But if you get a 20-pound bag of rice like this, a 20-pound bag of beans, and then buy one of the twin pack of the peanut butters, one of the tunas or canned chicken. If you don't like fish, just get the canned chicken. And that's it. That will give you food in a pinch. Plus, you're going to probably have some food in the fridge and some food in the pantry. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. And this will help augment that for, a couple of days to a couple of weeks. Number 2 is a collapsible water container. Now, I love my Aquatainers, and some of you love water bricks, and those are basically name brands of certain containers that hold water, and they're stackable, which is really, really cool. The problem is that you're paying for a nicer container that can actually hold the weight of water being stacked on top of it, because water is very, very heavy. But you can go on Amazon. I was looking before filming this video, and get a collapsible water container. You can get 2 5-gallon containers for like $17, $18, $20 on Amazon. The nice part about the 5-gallon containers is they're quite a bit lighter than the 7-gallon ones. So if you are worried about carrying 7 gallons of water, 50 something pounds, I can't do the math on top of my head. And so if you go with a 3-gallon collapsible water container or a 5-gallon collapsible water container, they're cheaper than the big Aquatainers, but you lose the stackability. You probably, because most of them are actually clear plastic, is you're going to have to actually cycle through the water a little bit more. But for $20, you can have 10 gallons of water just ready to go. Number 1 are water filters. And the cheapest and easiest way to do it, in my opinion, is to go with the Sawyer product line. Here is a Sawyer Mini, and here is a Sawyer Squeeze. The Sawyer Squeeze is quite a bit larger. It flows, the flow rate is faster. They are equivalent in the total number of gallons they're good for. They're both good for, I think, 100,000 gallons. So way, way more than you're probably ever going to use. The benefit of the Squeeze is that there is a faster, there's more membranes, tubes, micro tubes or whatever they are, for the water to filter through, because it is just, it's wider. The other thing that the Squeeze is good for is it's got more threading options. So you can thread one bag like of dirty water and then have it flowing into, and then thread on another clean bag, for example. Whereas this one, you thread on the dirty bag, and then it comes out this little sippy top, and it will drip out and flow out, or you can suck on it or wherever you want. But different ways of doing it. And they do have a micro, which is like this, but it even has a worse flow rate, which I'm not a huge fan of just because of the flow rate. We did not talk about defense, and that's a big one. I left it for the very, very end because some of you don't like when I talk about guns, which totally is fine. It's cool. And it's not cheap. So I highly recommend that if you don't have something to defend you and your family with, exercise that Second Amendment right. If you're here in the United States, if you're in another country and you're allowed to go through the permitting process, whatever you have to do to be able to buy something, it's better than nothing. So definitely try to have something for your self-defense, but that is not budget. Hopefully you beginners found this helpful. Hopefully this will help more people get into preparedness. If you have somebody who is looking at getting into preparedness, they're asking you questions about what they should get, and they're expressing curiosity in this, send them this link, send them the link to this video. If you did end up enjoying this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we'll see you next time.